Welcome to Downtown Sports. My name is Downtown Steven Brown, and in today's video, we are going to be looking over the 2017 Maple Leafs draft class. Just a little side note before we get going here, you guys got 19 likes on the last video, and I was absolutely blown away by that. So if you want to be part of that same group or add to it, then that would be amazing. The 2017 draft was a lot different for the Maple Leafs, and what I mean by that is that they actually made the playoffs that season, so they didn't have a top 10 pick. And in the first round of the draft, they selected Timothy Liljegren 17th overall. Now, Liljegren was someone who came into the season ranked in the top 5, but he had a case of mono. So, I mean, he didn't really get to play a lot in his draft year, and he fell to the Leafs all the way down at number 17. And I remember watching the draft, and I was like, okay, they got a chance. They might be able to do it. Oh my God, number 5, he's still on the board. Number 10, he's still there. Number 15, he's still there. The Leafs are picking. What are they going to do? Ah! And at the time, everybody collectively agreed that this was a huge steal for the Maple Leafs. He won't be 21 until the end of next season, and he's already played 2 full years in the AHL. And even though he only put up 17 points and 15 points in 44 and 43 games respectively, I mean, that's just something that not a lot of teenagers do in the AHL, right? That's just unheard of, right? He's in very, very select company with another Maple Leafs defensive prospect, but we'll get to that in another video. He's already won a Calder Cup, and he's going to be challenging for a spot on the Leafs' roster next year, especially when you look at their right side. Now, the Maple Leafs originally had 3 selections in the second round of the draft, but they sent one to Tampa Bay in the Brian Boyle deal, and then another to Anaheim, which they originally acquired from San Jose for Roman Polak and Nick Spaulding to complete the Frederik Andersen deal. But the Leafs did keep one of their second round selections, and they used it on 6'7" right-handed defenseman Emili Rasanen. Now, Rasanen took a little bit of a gamble going over to the KHL last year to play, make some money, play in some tougher minutes after previously playing in the OHL, but it kind of backfired on him. I believe he was injured for a little bit, even in the games that he did dress, which were only 12. He didn't really play a lot of minutes, and it was kind of a nightmare season. So the challenge for him this year is not necessarily going to be honing in his skills, but it's going to be finding ice time. Now, at the end of his KHL season, I'm pretty sure the Maple Leafs will bring him over to the AHL, and that's where I think he'll get a lot more playing time and a better look. Now, before we move over to the next selection that the Leafs made, you might be wondering to yourself, well, they didn't have a third round pick that year. Where the hell did it go? Well, they sent it to Detroit as compensation for hiring Mike Babcock. All right, next up in the 4th round at 110th overall is Ian Scott. Now, when the Maple Leafs first made this pick, not a lot of people were high on him because Prince Albert really sucked, the team that he played for in the WHL, and they were like, well, he's got an .895 save percentage, why should we even care? But if you take a look at the philosophy behind drafting a goalie that comes from a really bad team, it makes a lot of sense, right? Because if the goalie plays on a really bad team, that means that they're going to get a lot of opportunities to make saves, and in a developmental league like the CHL or the WHL, where Scott comes from, that's what you want, right? You want to be giving your prospects and young players lots of opportunities to improve themselves, and Scott has definitely done that over last year. And if you'll recall a video ago, I touched on a Maple Leafs mentorship program that they do with their younger goalies. And at the end of the 2018 season, Scott actually got to practice with the Marlies and learn from guys like Garrett Sparks and Calvin Pickard. And he's on the record saying that that really helped him understand what he needs to do to take his game to the next level. And the man put up a .932 save percentage last year and was the WHL goalie of the year. So I'd say that that's a success. Vladislav Kara at 124th overall. Now, this pick that they used to select him was acquired in the Frankie Corrado trade with Pittsburgh, where they took on Eric Fehr's salary. Now, there really wasn't much information to go on when he was first drafted, and there still isn't, but since then it's come out that he's a pretty decent skating forward with some playmaking ability. He's going to be playing in the KHL this year, and the Leafs do not have him signed to an ELC contract right now, but they do own his rights still. Fedor Gordeev, 141st overall, another hulking defenseman between this draft and the previous one. The Leafs have a bunch of them in their system, and Fedor Gordeev, it's really unfortunate because he played played on an OHL Flint Firebirds team that had a lot of ownership problems when he was there, and then he got into it in like a brawl that was like headline news, where I believe he accidentally punched a referee in the face and was suspended a bunch, and I don't believe that the Maple Leafs tendered him an ELC, and they do not own his rights anymore. Ryan McGregor at 172nd overall. He had a very good draft plus 2 year with Sarnia last season, putting up 77 points. Played some games for the Marlies as well. He could be kind of a Growlers or Marlies depth piece next season, as he is going to be AHL eligible. The Leafs' last selection in the 2017 draft was Ryan O'Connell, 203rd overall. Now, O'Connell is a college player, so we're not going to really know too much about him until he graduates and comes into the system, but the Leafs do still own his rights. He's not signed to an ELC at the moment because he doesn't have to be, and we'll look for news from him in the future. Looking back on the selections from this draft, if the Leafs end up walking away with a top 4 defenseman in Timothy Liljegren, a decent goaltender in Ian Scott, and something with Emil Rasanen, right, the threshold for determining whether or not a draft pick was a successful one, outside of the first round, I would say, because first round picks you would want to be impact players, is playing 200 NHL games throughout their career. That's going to be it for this video, guys. Stay tuned for another video coming out in the next day or two about Timothy Liljegren and what the Maple Leafs are going to do with him. So make sure to give the video a big thumbs up for that new video that's going to be coming out in a couple of days from now, and subscribe for more because more is always on the way. And guys, as always, take care.